coming straight from the cockpit. It's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, back in the can for another quarantine edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And this one, well, this could turn out to be a slightly compromising podcast for me, but it's going to be funny as hell. So let's just get to it. Tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
I am Mandy Curry, otherwise known as O'Farrell. And I am like the owner-operator at A&B Tiny Minion Farm.
What?
I'm a mom. Okay. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
My tiny minions. Yes, your tiny minions. Okay, stay-at-home mom.
My tiny minions, yep, are Aurora and Brielle.
All right.
2 and 4 years old that keep me very busy.
Jesus Christ, it must keep you busy. 2 and 4, fucking hell. Now,
dude, it's for real.
Now, I've talked to lots of moms on the podcast, but all the moms that I've talked to are very active skydivers. Why in the fuck are you on a skydiving podcast?
Well, I used to skydive.
Yep.
I met this stripper in Vegas one time. He was like, hey, you want to come out on a skydive? And I was like, yeah.
That's all right. We got to expand on that story just a little bit because it wasn't quite that bad. Well, or maybe it was. So
basically, it was exactly like that.
Well, kind of. I mean, there's a bit more of a backstory to it. So you and I had a mutual friend who also happened to be an entertainer in the club that I worked in. I forget. I forget.
Gina.
That's right. It's been a very long time. And a lot of brain cells gone since then. So I didn't know you. She knew you and I knew her. And I was working upstairs as a stripper in that club. And you are, by the way, I think one of maybe 3 skydivers that ever saw me at that point in my life. I think.
Yeah, not only did I see you, know you, like I seen you on the meat rack. Like I was there.
Yes.
Well, I was there. I had my head in my lap and I couldn't look up, but I was there.
Yes, you were absolutely horrified. And if I remember correctly, you were so horrified that Gina bought me to do a table dance for you where you were just disgusted and wanted to run away through the entire thing.
I wasn't disgusted. I was just like, shell shocked. Like, how would you feel? Like, it's not a comfortable situation.
Well, it was very comfortable for me.
Like at the time. So I have to back up though, because on my side, I feel like it's a little bit more telling, hilarious. I met this girl at nail school. I was going to be, a nail tech. After I had a degree, of course, I came home and told my parents, working a real job isn't for me. I want to go do nails, in this trade.
Right.
They were like, okay. Go to school in Vegas, and I'm 21 years old. And they're like, right. So anyways, I take off. I meet this chick. I'm bored. I live out in the fucking Tules. Like I live in the Bananasville, right? Like the last exit out of Vegas before you hit Reno. Like, and so anyways, I met this gal and I used to ice skate when I was a kid. So I was going to Brian Boitano's holiday festival on ice. And I asked her if she wanted to go and she's like, no, I'll pass. So she's like, but I'll be working that night. So come by after and we'll go for drinks. We'll hang out. And I'm like, oh, okay. Where do you work? And she's like, oh, geez, just Google it, and I'm like, okay. So I show up at this strip club. I'm like, I'm looking for Gina. So the doorman makes me pay to get in to go see my friend. I'm like, what?
Right.
So he gives me 2 drink tickets and I'm like, go in there and there's just like naked women everywhere. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like supposed to like sort through and I'm like, can you help me find Gina? And he was like, oh, she's in the VIP room. She said just to have a seat and she'll find you when she's done. And I'm like, and this place is huge. Like, it's not like oh, this little one stage deal. There's like stages everywhere. And there's naked women everywhere. And so I go up to the bar and I have a seat like facing the wall. The wall, mind you, is all mirrors. So I'm still just seeing naked women everywhere. I like try to keep my back to it. But now I'm like a single girl, 21 years old, facing the wall in Vegas at a strip club. I wait there for like an hour and a half. She finally comes out of the VIP room and she's like, oh my God, I totally thought you'd be upstairs. And I'm like, what's upstairs? So she takes me into the dressing room where she gets dressed. And it's just like this dirty locker room. And I get just like covered in glitter. I'm just like, oh, ew, like it's on me, like. And so then we go upstairs and you run up to her and you're like, oh, hey, sweetheart. And you got these like Dean King glasses on and you're extremely handsome. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in love. And she's like, oh, ha, 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 you like Dean. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And you're like, oh shit, that's my set, So you like run up on your thing and we go over and get a drink. And then, you're already dancing and she plants me right directly on the meat rack. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is not happening right now.
Now, for those that don't know, that have never been to a strip club, the meat rack is literally where you're sitting up against the stage, and the edge of the stage is actually even padded so that the dancers can kneel and or crawl and lean down to collect their tips. And the meat rack is when the customer is sat right up against that rail.
Yeah, it's, interesting and whatever. So then I won't look. So then she's like, oh, Dean, come here. She gives you money and you take me over the corner. So halfway through the dance, you're just like, I give up. I give up. What's your name? Where are you from? So we start talking and I'm like, what do you really do? Like, this isn't your real, what do you really do? And you're like, I'm a skydiver. And I was like, really? And you're like, yeah, you want to come on a skydive sometime? I'm like, yeah. So then you got my phone number.
Yep. Wow. Yes, I suppose I remember all that. It just seemed so much less skeezy.
It was less dramatic on your side because to me, I was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like this. Not what I thought when I was going to meet her for a drink.
Right. So now,
later into the night.
When did you? How long later did you make your first skydive?
I actually had jumped before that. When I was, this is how wholesome I am now. I was working for Walt Disney World in Florida, and I'm doing my internship out of college, and I had this British kid wanted to go on a skydive before he left the States. He was in the Millennium Village. We worked there in 2000. And so we went up to the closest skydiving center in some orange tree field and made our first tandem skydive. And I had seasonal allergies. I didn't I'm from Alaska, so I didn't have allergies my whole life. And then I go to Florida in the fall and there's like all these trees and shit blooming. So I had like these horrible allergies. I was a little bit medicine heady, and we did the skydive and my videographer's videoing me and I'm like, yay, like I land and I'm like, yeah, they're like, hey, how do you like it? Like they're excited, like expecting this little 20-year-old chick to be like, woo, like all jumping all over them. Like, that was cool. Like just nodding my head, like, sure. And literally on the video, you can hear the guy go, what the hell kind of reaction was that? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
And that was on jump number one. Now, but we ended up jumping together in Vegas.
Yeah, we jumped together. Actually, I jumped with. I'm like, who is that? Gosh, I don't remember. You videoed it. I don't think you actually took me on. Okay, yeah. But anyways, yeah, was it Mark Hogue? Was that my instructor?
That could have been, because that was when I was jumping in Jean, although I bounced to every damn drop zone in that town, but I think I was in Jean at the time.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I think it was within days. I think it was like the next day or within days, because as my story goes, like legitimate, like I went to this fanboy, it was like ice skating thing. I met you, and then I think I went on a skydive with you, and then we met for a drink, which is also a story that I wanted to tell. We met for a drink, and we're discussing like where we live, and you also lived on the same exit before you get to Reno.
Yeah,
like forever out of town. Yeah, so we lived only blocks from each other. So we met out at this lodgy type place, and I was leaving to go back to Alaska for Christmas break at the time, like the very next day or that night. And we met for a drink, and I remember you getting up at one point, going to go to the bathroom, and every fucking head in that bar turned to look at you, and including the bartender. I just watched this show of like every head turning. And so it's so funny to me when you talk about the Me Too movement and like how legitimately as a guy you can relate, but you can't relate. Like you'll never really know. I'm like, dude, if any man was ever womanized, I'm like, it was you, because I was like, even the bartender who is a man was like, oh, like stop in their tracks and walk to the bathroom. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in fucking trouble. Never have I ever been with a man who turns more heads than me. Like, no.
If ever a man had been womanized, I like that. That's pretty good.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was just like everybody stopped and stared. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, this is interesting.
Hey, real quick, while I can, you're echoing a little bit. I'll get you to turn the volume on your computer down just a bit. Just so I'm not quite as loud.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it won't echo through.
All right, did that work?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's much better. So now,
okay.
So we make the one jump, but we hung out quite a bit, and we even did some skiing and all that kind of stuff. But I forget when you made the decision that you're like, fuck this, I want to be a skydiver.
So I didn't really make the decision, interestingly enough. I mean, I don't know, do you remember this story?
You got to remind me.
I'm like calling home, talking to my parents all the time, which is just pretty normal for me. And my dad's like, you know, the two things I wish that I would have done when I was a kid or younger and I could was play hockey and skydive. And so if you want to do this, I'll pay for it. So, you know, the next time I hung out with you, which was probably, you know, the next day, I was like, yeah, so I was talking to my parents. My dad said this, and you were like, fuck yes, you're doing this. And I was like, okay. So you talk to Mark Hogue, you know, and he knows people in Eloy. And so he called down there, and it turns out that weekend, the drop zone was actually closed. But they had, because they were closed for like some RW something or another, like some airspeed something, you know, it was like legit closed. It was closed to fun jumpers, but they were going to run, you know, they said they would run an AFF class for me and this other chick, this one chick out of Tucson, who's a college student. And so, and I don't know if it was maybe me because I was coming down there, but yeah, I don't remember. I remember the guy's face, the DZO at the time. And I remember Brian Burke was there talking, lots of talking. He was always like talking. But yeah, so they ran this special course for me. And you and I were down there, and yeah, it was completely dead. There was some stuff going on in the big hangar. But there was no fun jumpers. There was no people. There's no spectators. The bar was, everything was closed. It was just us, you know? And so I got down there, and I think in 2 days I did all 7 jumps.
Yes. You flew through the course. You absolutely flew through the course. Yeah.
And like you were on the ground filming me, and they allowed you to go in the plane on my last 2 jumps, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so AFF was a breeze, you know, like, and I was just like leisurely, like, okay, I'm doing this. And my dad was just like,
You kind
Aim
of
for
got
it, no big deal.
you kind of got spoiled your entire time in the sport. I mean, and I don't mean materially spoiled. I mean, you just got lucky with the people that you got to jump with and the situations that you ended up with. I mean, who was it you were telling me was basically your personal free fly coach?
Mike Ortiz.
I mean, come on. Who
So,
the fuck gets a flyboy as a personal
like,
free fly coach?
Literally, I had the most charmed skydiving career in my 350 jumps. It was phenomenal. So jump, 1 through 7, I had a private, course at Eloy. And then literally on the drive home, you made some phone calls and there was somebody who knew somebody who had this teeny tiny rig. And so I got a old rig with a new canopy and a new Cypress.
Yes,
so I had a Cypress with tons of years left on it. So that was like the whole thing. And we bought it for $1,000. We didn't even go home. We went straight from Vegas to some guy's car and bought this rig for me. The following weekend, I think it was the following weekend, you took me out to Paris.
Yep.
And I got to jump out of a Sky van. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it would have been the Sky van in Paris. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you were like showing me how basically to like kind of crawl out the back and like hold onto the step and then just hold onto the plane and like kind of like just hold on and hang out there.
Yep.
It was so bomb. And there was like people like diving out behind us and we're just hanging on this thing and they're just like going. It was super cool.
Yep. I remember.
But like here I am at like less than 10 jumps and I'm like hanging on this airplane, just kind of like flying in the air.
All the shit that you are absolutely not supposed to do.
Right. But I mean, I knew people, it was fun and we had a good time. And then, I came home to Alaska and of course I wanted to find skydiving. Here I had my own rig, And so I went out to the only skydiving place, Skydive Alaska, and is owned by Bill and Carol Jones. And they used to have the 24 or else the summer solstice boogie.
Right.
On June 21st, so we had 24 hours of sunlight up here. They'd bring up an Otter or Caravan or King Air or something. And they brought up Mike Ortiz and a few other people to like do different camps and stuff. But free flying wasn't really a thing up here. That was the other thing. Like it was a really weird drop. It was a really interesting drop zone. I mean, I'm sure they happen elsewhere, but so in Alaska, it was always $25 a jump. And it's always rich people. So like all these older people, and I'm talking older, older, you know what I'm saying? They would fly their own planes to the drop zone, park their planes, and then get out of their planes and then go jump. Like, it's just here I am like the only 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid.
Sure.
And like I'm out there with all these, older people. And so Bill and Carol really looked out for me. And I, at the time I was like, oh, I'm fine, whatever. And I kind of didn't really appreciate their apparently hands on me all the time,
Right.
But basically they told anybody out there, like, touch her, look at her, do anything to her, like you're dead. Like, you will be dead to us. You will be ousted. So any young-ish guy that came around, basically got the talking to, like, don't do it. Don't even dream of it, And I'm just like, but I want to have fun too. And they're like, no, you don't. No.
Well, I mean, what a spectacular place to go jump in, though. I mean, fuck me. Alaska's got to be, and I've never jumped there. I never did make it up to one of the solstice boogies when it was still going on, but it's got to be fucking stunning because I've now been to Anchorage twice, winter and summertime, and it's absolutely breathtaking. So to jump there?
Yeah.
Shit.
So, we did a high altitude jumps, not over Denali, but we're not far from Denali, the largest mountain in North America. And we would take off from the drop zone and we would fly to altitude and circle base camp and come back to the drop zone at high altitude and do high altitude jumps. We did helicopter jumps over a glacier. where we'd set out base camp way out over a glacier, and we would basically fly the helicopter and do like, super cool maneuvers all through the glacier, and then jump out over a glacial lake and land on the glacier.
Oh, wow. Well, and I mean, that's the kind of stuff that Alaska is known for, though, right? I mean, don't more people own fucking airplanes than cars out there?
Yeah, it's a super aviation heavy place. So like even now, my husband's a pilot, of course. So we, he wants to get a plane. It's kind of like one of those things. And I'm just like, if we get a plane, it has to have a jump door. Like that's the deal. I mean, like that's like legit. Like that's the deal. And he's pretty pushed back on that. And I'm like, hey, you want a plane and all the maintenance to go with it, then it's got to have a jump door. Like that's
he'd be your own personal jump pilot.
Dude, absolutely.
Fucking hell, that'd actually be pretty pimp.
Yeah, and like totally. And like there's actually a neighborhood like 4 miles from where I live that has. There's multiple neighborhoods that have airstrips right on them. I don't know how the Anchorage airspace goes. It's pretty busy. So I have jumped and seen the writing on the hat of another Cessna pilot, and been like, holy moly, like why are all these airplanes in the sky?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's just Alaska.
I can imagine that'd be a fair amount of the reason why he'd be worried. That being said, at least from what I know, your husband is a pretty low key guy, because I was your maid of honor at your wedding.
Right.
So
how many people get their dude made of honor, or their ex-stripper boyfriend from Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, I might be nicknamed Princess, but when it comes down to it, I'm not a princess. Although I remember you told me that his friends were asking him, is he like gay or what? Because why is he your wife's or your soon-to-be wife's maid of honor?
Yeah, I mean, they like. I just talk about everything. So he has no question of, our friendship, and so he just doesn't even it doesn't occur to him, he's pretty busy with his own thing. He doesn't care. Yeah. So people were, definitely like, what? Wait, huh? They dated, and he's like, I mean, yeah, but it's like her best friend. So why,
Well, and it was so weird too, because it was a bit of a whirlwind tour, because I was coming from overseas, visiting family in Seattle, where I got my entire sleeve tattoo in 2 days, and then came to you 2 days later trying to heal up the sleeve tattoo, wearing a full heavy black suit for your wedding, and all of this. It was just the coolest, strangest trip ever.
And winter coats, and yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, and the fishing that you took me to do, where you're nipple deep in waders out in really fucking cold, pretty stiff tides in this water, trying to catch fish in the rain. We didn't catch a goddamn fucking thing, by the way. Nothing.
That was a bad day of fishing. That was a bummer.
Yeah.
If you would have got one though, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Not even a nibble. Nothing.
No, it was such a crap day and a crap tide.
Well, all in all, though, we've had more than a couple of pretty bizarre adventures together, so a relatively mellow one wasn't such a bad thing.
Right, and yeah.
So
basically,
I'm curious to hear, and I've only talked about it briefly a couple of times on the podcast, but I've written an article about it, and it's definitely been brought up. You are the only person that was there to witness everything that happened when we flew the Chicago Twin Otter to Mexico.
Yeah, that was a cool trip. I mean, that's just kind of like the nature kind of like my skydiving career, right? It's like, again, I maybe had like 150, 200 jumps. And Dean calls or says, hey, I'm going to fly this otter. I got this really cool gig for the winter. Chicago doesn't do much jumping in the winter, so I'm going to go down to Mexico and fly this otter for this drop zone and then rotate between the beach and inland. And I was like, ooh, that sounds cool. Like, can somebody else ride in the plane? Like, what's the deal? And you're like, yeah, I mean, I can check. And so I'm like, hell yeah, like check into that. So yeah, I got to come down to Chicago. Speaking of which, we have to back up eventually to Cross Keys and that.
Oh, but, for sure.
Yeah, so we flew the Otter down, and we end up in Brownsville, Texas. Before we cross over the border, and we I don't remember, but we unloaded that little moped thing, and we're driving through Brownsville to get to our hotel, and it was just dirty and nasty, and it was just awful. And we were both like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get to Mexico."
Right.
Where it was going to be like this oasis. We just couldn't wait. We were like, oh, we have to be in this disgusting place. Like, oh, this is the worst. They're like, everything was just so bad. And we're just like Dumb and Dumber, we're sitting on this little moped and we're like strapped kind of to each other, through town. And so we took off the next day and we start getting to Mexican airspace. We can't fucking understand a word that these people are saying. They're talking so fast. It was like,
oh yeah, well, and as a little precursor to that, when we left Chicago, my cross country experience was limited to what I was required to do to get my commercial license, which for any pilot out there knows that means jack shit. So I had my instrument rating that I had basically never used, and I had my commercial rating, obviously, to fly jumpers, but had done no real cross country. And the next thing you know, I'm flying a Twin Otter from Chicago to, I think we had to go through Tennessee, and then Tennessee to Brownsville, and then Brownsville into Mexico. And literally all I had was my flight plan, which was like the 10th flight plan I'd ever made, and some notes from the previous pilot that had done it a couple of years before, which basically said, basically said, once you cross into Mexican airspace, all bets are off. So we ended up in Brownsville for that extra night because of bad weather, because I was uncurrent instrument-wise and a chicken shit. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm flying into Mexico into potentially bad weather when I haven't, seen the inside of a cloud since my instrument course. So we ended up an extra day in lovely Brownsville before we took off. Oh man.
Yeah, we just couldn't wait to get out of there, but it was, and so we go to Mexico, and oh my gosh, so you have like this GPS coordinates, and you're like, oh, we're gonna get it here, we're flying over, and you're like, well, the GPS says it's here, like it should be right below us, and we're like looking and looking, we can't see anything that remotely resembles a drop zone. There's a big fucking Grand Canyon, but there is no drop zone. So this guy comes in the radio, and he's like speaking Spanish, and you start talking to him a little bit, and basically figure out it's like one of the drop zone guys, and he's like, yeah, you're almost there, and he's trying to direct you, and I'm, and it's like, it's such a hot mess. So finally we do see like an airstrip.
Yep.
So you're like, well, I don't fucking care. Like, we can't just fly around up here all day. Like, we're going to land on this thing. This is where the GPS says to go. I can see a tiny strip of land. Like, okay. So we go, and we finally come in, and you're coming in, and like, it does get kind of bumpy. Plus the guy is trying to tell you like, that's a drop zone, but not the drop zone. And you're like, well, fucking come to me when I get on the ground and we'll talk about it. Like,
right.
So you land, and we're like going down this, and we know that there's a canyon, right. But like in the air, maybe looks like more like a crack. It doesn't look like the ginormous like canyon full of power lines that it really is.
All right.
So we're like blasting down this runway, dirt, mind you, just dirt and rocks and ruts everywhere, bumping all over the place. And we get right to the canyon edge right as we're like, you're really trying to stop the plane. And I'm like, wow, this is for real. Like, and I'm Worst case scenario, we could just like keep flying, right? And you're like, that's not how planes work.
And you're being very kind too, because that was at the time the single worst fucking landing of my life. I didn't so much fucking land daintily in Mexico as we arrived with a force. We fucking
No, we slammed down. I mean, but I was like, I felt like it was more the bumpy runway.
Yeah, okay. Don't get me wrong. I'll take it, but it was a shit landing.
Right.
And I look back on it, and when I was trained to fly that Twin Otter, I was trained to never use more than 10 degrees flaps. I should have been full flaps going into this place. And for anybody that's listening to this, the field that we're talking about is the old Cuautla runway. For anybody that knows that runway, they're now going, oh, yeah, that's a fucked up field. And it is. It looks like more like a donkey cart than it does a runway. And to add insult to injury, I pile drive on that fucking runway, managed to get it stopped before we end up going over the edge into the big ditch. And as soon as I get it shut down, we're surrounded by Mexican military with guns. Woo!
Yeah, they like rode up in a Hummer, and there's like men with guns like hanging all over this vehicle. And I'm like, what? And you're like, just don't move. Just don't move. I'm like, okay.
We were not warned about any of that prior to. Luckily, we were able to get out of there to where I had the second worst landing of my life, which was actually on the actual runway that I was supposed to be on. Thankfully, every landing after that was actually quite nice once we got there. But that was just the beginning of the excitement in that place. Oh.
Right. So do you remember, it was like we finally made it to the place, kind of dark, and I don't remember who picked us up. But I remember we did meet. Am I allowed to say the name of the guy?
Are you talking about the drop zone owner?
Yeah.
I don't know if he still owns it anymore, but the owner at the time was Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like Tony Montana. Tonya Montana.
Montana, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like some drug lord name from Mexico. Yeah. And we get picked up, go to his house, getting out of the car, you drop your phone, it shatters into a million pieces.
Right. Yep. So I've broken my phone because it got run over by the van because I set it down on the back bumper as we're pulling all the gear out. We get into the house and find out that we're staying in Tony's house with Fritz of the Flyboys and his girlfriend at the time, just to find out that house is like party central the entire time we're there. You remember that?
Yeah, I do, but I don't remember Fritz staying there. I remember basically, being hungry and we had no way to get food.
Right.
And like the party, the DJ setting up and weird people starting to show up and you basically being like, get in the fucking bedroom, take your last piss because once we lock this door, and, Katie Barrett, yep. You're not going out, you are not going out of this room. Like, this will be expressly forbidden. And so you're getting on the emails or whatever, trying to basically get back communication with anybody because your phone now is shit.
Right.
And, you basically, the music started and it was like, but like
never stopped.
Really loud, like really loud. It was like blaring. So, I mean, you couldn't even hear yourself think.
Nope.
And so I don't remember. I think you gave me earphones or some type of ear protection and told me to go to bed. And you were like on your computer and worried. And I was like, he'll take care of everything. And I just went to sleep.
Yep. Well, and I didn't sleep at all. Get up the next morning to go to the drop zone to start what was the beginning of the Halloween boogie, which went really well for the first, quarter of the day. And then that's when I had the issue with the local pilot who had made a bit of a mistake when he taxied the Colorado King Air down a hill and had double prop strikes on the pavement. And that's where I told him, don't you dare load anybody in that plane. And things just got really weird from there.
Yeah, no, it was no good. We were just walking out to the plane, and here comes this load full of jumpers, and it's bang, bang, and you're like, radio, hey, stop that guy, put those passengers in my plane. So we fired up and got the people on our plane, and we thought we're all safe. Things were going to be good to go. They'll get their stuff checked out, and they could go from there. No sooner did we take off did that guy load full of people, and he beat us into the sky. Like he came and he was like inches from the plane. Like he was right there, too, right on us. And it was like, oh gosh. And we just continued to operate right the rest of the day. And when we landed, there was like this dark color vehicle truck. It was a truck because there were people in the back.
Yeah.
Coming to greet us. And I thought, oh, great. They're coming to take us, so we don't have to walk all the way back to basically the landing area or whatever. Take us back to the party for dinner. And no, they were not. They got out of the truck with guns and bats. And they came to approach you and tell you, basically, if you don't leave Mexico, you have 24 hours. If you don't leave Mexico now, you're leaving in a box, in a pine box.
Yep.
And I in my flip-flops, I run over to these military guys who are like smoking cigarettes behind this little like shack, and they've got their big rifles, and I'm like, help me, my friend. And they look at me and they look around the shack thing and they see guys with guns and whatnot, and they go back and sit down in their lawn chairs. I was like, oh my God. I run over, and there's this little guy like jumping. You're not like a basketball player, no. But this guy was like shorter. He was like jumping up, trying to punch you in the face. And then the guy with the hat was like circling. So I was like, basically shooing him off. And we basically got on the motor scooter, like the little Dumb and Dumber people, and zinged out of there, back to safety, so to say. And then that black pickup truck drove off, and you could see the guys like holding their guns, and we're like, those guys right there had guns. Like they were telling us to leave now or leave in a pine box.
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny too because of course we found out after the fact that one of the guys that had a gun was a federale, which did not make me feel any better about the whole situation. And of course, the way that it ended up was me contacting the aircraft owner and going, look, you've got two options. I either leave on a flight out of Mexico City or I leave in your plane, but I'm fucking out of here. And to his credit, he was like, get in the plane and get the fuck out of there. And the coolest thing ever, and funny enough, I don't even know if you know this, but in the years since, I've actually ended up working with 4 different people consistently that were working there when all that happened. And you remember when I had to address the entire group, I had a tear coming down my face because I was heartbroken that I had to take this plane away from them because they were counting on that Twin Otter for their whole season that I was taking away. And I'll never forget how fucking amazing those people were because all these people whose season I was destroying spent hours helping you and I load that Twin Otter so that sunrise we could get the fuck out of there. That was the coolest thing I had ever seen.
They went back to that guy. They went back to that guy's house, got all our personal belongings. They kind of sheltered us. I mean, we had to basically go in hiding for a couple hours. And then in the morning light, like literally when sun rose, we were loading the plane, like you said, with a crew of people. We were definitely taking away their livelihood and their fun.
Right. And they did it with a smile on their face and even some hugs. And I remember multiple people apologizing to me for the fact that had happened. And I felt so thrilled that they were being so amazing, but so horrible that had happened. And then, of course, it was just like, can we please just get the fuck out of here? And then the clusterfuck of having to fly back through Puebla and get all the permissions to go back into the United States. And then you and I land in Brownsville, cut to 30 minutes after we land there. Customs was the lady walking over, peeking her head into the Twin Otter and going, I'm not fucking going in there, and clearing us because it was so packed with stuff. I mean, we could have had 1,000 pounds of anything in there. She didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then
So,
next thing you know, we're back on the scooter riding towards the hotel that we'd stayed in. And all of a sudden, Brownsville was the most fucking gorgeous, amazing town we had ever been in.
you literally kissed the ground.
Yes, I did.
You literally kissed the ground in Brownsville. Like, you were like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, it's a little dramatic. But then once we like settled in and I called my mom,
Yep.
I called my mom once we get back to the States, and she was just like, okay, so you're in Texas and you're safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we were run out of Mexico by gunpoint.
Yeah, and I can say with beyond a shadow of a doubt that having a gun stuck in your face by someone who is clearly not fucking around is not an experience I would like to repeat. I'm good not doing that again.
I mean, it was not good.
That was it was a pretty fucking intense experience. And of course it's turned out to be a funny story to tell, but yeah, that was something else.
I will honestly never forget that landing though. Like, honestly, like it was, I mean, and then when we took off and seen the canyon, like it looked like a crack again.
Yeah.
But when you got right on the edge, it was like, oh my God, that thing is a canyon.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We would have died.
Yeah. No, definitely.
They would have never recovered the plane. Like,
no, it was definitely nowhere that I should have been operating with the amount of experience I had in the Twin Otter. Because I think by the time I went there, I had, I don't know, 200 hours in the Otter, all on a nice grass strip at sea level in Chicago, and next thing you know, I'm landing on a donkey trail at 4,000 feet somewhere in Mexico. Yeah, that was intense. It was definitely intense.
Yeah,
so not something I'd be in a huge rush to repeat for sure. Now, you didn't.
So meeting.
No, go ahead.
Meeting Fritz was definitely one of the highlights of that trip for me because Mike Ortiz was my coach.
Sure.
So, like I said, he came up to Alaska for our boogie. And by the way, like back to my charmed skydiving career, they were just kind of like getting their second hangar, their little building put together when I kind of came into the thing. And my dad does flooring. So they, ideally wanted carpet, right? Because it's softer to pack on and whatnot. But at the point, it was just plywood and concrete. And so I said, well, hey, my dad does flooring and maybe we could work out a deal for some jump tickets. So literally like the second time I was out there, I brokered a deal to get me like $2,500 in jump tickets.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you telling me the story. You're like, no, my dad's going to put carpet in. So I've basically got like 2 years worth of jumps on my account.
Yeah, I had like $2,500 in jump tickets. Now they're expensive jump tickets because it's Alaska, but still I'm like, I have 15 jumps. Maybe I had 25. I think I did have about 25 at the time, but still. And then, a month later, Mike Ortiz shows up to a RW, drop zone. And I'm like, hey, you want to jump? So I was, I could pay for these jumps with him, like no problem. So yeah, my first 100 jumps, were with Mike Ortiz. And then, Alaska always did like February, January, Alaska Canadian invasion in Eloy, where we all went down as a group and all the Canadians, basically we did this combined boogie in Eloy. And, so anyways, meeting Fritz was super cool because Mike Ortiz, once I found out who he was, I kind of did a little research and I was like, ooh, wow. So I got to meet Fritz. And then I also went to a boogie with Carol Jones and the ladies to the Rock Boogie. And I met Fritz. And jumped with him because Carol was like, here's a free flight, like mom, right? A good mom. She takes me personally over and introduces to, this is somebody that you're allowed to jump with. This will be your coach. So I was so and I didn't know any different at the time until I did a little research. And then, so Fritz was like the last one that I would want to meet or, needed to meet. And then we're down there and partying with them and like staying in the same house with them. And I didn't get to do any jumps because we were only there a day, but it was super cool for me. It was definitely a highlight of that trip.
Well, now you got to meet Alaska John as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so it it was into a couple years of jumping up here and a couple years of the boogies going on. Alaska John and one of his teammates came up with this gal. Her dad owned Korean Air, and so she took her coaches everywhere to these boogies, and she always, so this gal shows up and she's got the exact same jumpsuit that I am wearing. I had mine custom made, and this girl is like literally wearing my jumpsuit, and I'm like, what? And she's, a little Korean gal, so she's, pretty attractive gal, nice body, like Lindsay.
Right.
So then Alaska John is, he was an attractive guy. I mean, he's super, super hot guy. So I was like, yes, somebody who basically doesn't have to listen to the drop zone owner. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that Carol and Bill were going to go up to him and be like, this girl is untouchable.
Right.
Do not, mess with her. And I don't think that they did it maliciously. I think it was more like literally out of love. Like, we do not want you to basically.
Yeah, don't
get into any drop zone drama unknowingly. So we're just going to basically forbid it. And so they wouldn't forbid it with him, right? Because he's like this special guest that we had up in Alaska. And so we were all drinking. And that was the other thing. Our drop zone is a little bit special. One of the skydivers is that was the MGD Miller Genuine Draft rep. So we had free flowing alcohol for free, always and forever. There was never a fee for any booze for anyone.
Fucking hell.
Oh, you could drink 24 hours of sunlight. Like, yeah. So anyways, we're on this big fuel. I don't know what they are, but it's like a balloon.
Okay.
Kind of like a balloon wheel thing. It's like this big balloon. And so anyways, you get up there and you're about 5-6 feet off the ground. And so we're seeing how many people we could get up on this balloon and keep the balloon rolling. And so every time we got up there, right, like I was trying to get close to him because he was hot. And I was like, I want to hold on to you, I was like, yeah, help me, like always trying to kind of angle myself towards him. But anyways, one time we took quite the tumble, and this was after a couple hours of drinking. We all took a tumble, but I landed on him. I broke his leg. I broke his ankle. And I was purposely like trying to stay close to him so that like something more romantic could happen. But I think after that, he was kind of like, oh, no.
Well, yeah, you fucking snapped Alaska John's ankle, for Christ's sakes.
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Hey, whatever claim to fame, right? I mean, come on, shit. You got to make a name for yourself. So now,
yeah, I don't think
when was the last time you jumped?
I don't remember.
Been a while. Well, you're a mother of two now.
Like,
well, okay. What year did you get married? That was 2014?
2014 was it? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So I think it was before 2011. Because when did we go to Australia?
When the hell did we go?
I think we went. It was your
10 years ago.
30th and your 40th.
Yeah,
so,
10 years ago. Yeah.
So I don't think I had jumped before that, like at that point. I don't think I was jumping in 2011. I think probably whenever the Alaska drop zone shut down. So I'd have to look that up, but it's been a long time.
Now, is jumping something that you hope to be able to do again someday in the future?
I mean, yes and no. Like I still have my rig because I figured I would jump, but now I'm hearing about all the technology and I'm like, ooh, I need to sell that shit. Unless anybody would want it. It's a brand new rig. Unfortunately, it probably only has like 100 jumps on it.
Well, the benefit to a gear like that is it's still great for you. I mean, if you're not going to go out and try and be, a cutting edge swooper doing all this hardcore intense stuff, you don't need any more than you had back then. It's still a safe rig with the cypress and the canopies in it. So that's a rig that you could hold on to for quite some time and still be able to get a jump in. I don't know what it would be worth to sell now. I mean, I suppose you'd get a few bucks for it, But I mean, at this point, I'd almost hang on to it more for
At this
sentimental
point, right?
reasons.
Just hang on to it. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of why I did. Like, I designed it, picked it out, and I like it.
Well,
so
and you said your husband's trying to talk you into getting an airplane. I'm assuming he wants like a little bush plane. Does he want like a Piper Cub or a Cessna?
Probably a Cessna. Yeah. I mean, we have kids, so we have to have something big enough to put the kids in, the dog.
Sure, absolutely.
So.
Well, and so there you go. You had said it before. He can have a plane if you can have a jump door.
Right. Yeah. And we do have a small operation that's running out in the valley, but it's it's a different setup. Bill and Carol, I mean, they know how to build a drop zone.
Oh, personally,
they have an amazing place.
If you got
now it's running the airport.
If you got a pilot husband, you can make your own fucking drop zone. Just go do the occasional bandit jump. How cool are your kids gonna think you are, Mom? Just fucking jumped out of the plane.
Well, and that would be probably the only reason I wouldn't jump, and I it's just going to depend on like what the lifestyle ends up. Like we are super busy. We got these fat bikes, and we like to fish. We both like to snowboard. We'd like to get a ski cabin or a cabin up at Girdwood, that little town where we got married. And, the kids will be skiing. And I mean, we do 2 bike rides a day right now. Like it's really busy. So I just can't imagine breaking away. And then like my nephews are high school kids and they play football and various sports. And we're always trying to like make time to go see them. But I'm imagining myself with teenage kids, and it's like, it doesn't get any less busy. Like, and like my husband's already, he's like, whoa, Brielle needs to start, piano this year. I'm like, she's 5. And he's like, yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. So now I'm seeing a music class into the 5 sport lessons and kindergarten. I'm like, dude, I'm like for real busy. Like,
right.
And he's like, well, I work all day. And I'm like, yo, I haven't sat down all day. Like, at all.
No.
Like, at least you sit at your desk. I haven't sat down.
Now, when all this mania drops off and they get older, what happens when they see old pictures or video of Mom out skydiving and decide that they want to go jump as well? How are you gonna cope with that? Are you gonna be, let's go skydiving, or are you gonna try and keep them away from it?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I would definitely, I go both ways because I'm super protective. But I would probably say, yeah, let's go. I mean, I know how safe it is. Like, I really still feel like it's super safe in comparison to some other things that they could be doing.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. But like the whole guy thing, right? Like, I mean, I was pretty conservative. But as I have become an adult, it's not that cool to be friends with boys. I'm like, how about that shit, Dean?
Right.
I'm supposed I have more girlfriends now, so I'm hearing more stories because I just never hung out with girls, so I just didn't ever get it, and I wasn't that promiscuous per se, so I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. So now, having girls and then hearing these girls' stories of like how girls can be, I'm a little shocked and I'm like worried about my kids. Like sorry, but this is the real deal of it. Like I always hung out with guys. I had no clue how girls could be. And I have 3 brothers. Now I have daughters. And the guy thing is a serious issue for me. So I don't know. That is going to be harder than letting them ride dirt bikes.
Well, I mean, that's the old joke is if you have a boy, you got to worry about one prick. If you have a girl, you got to worry about all of them. That was the whole joke in regard to my daughter and skydiving. Is people would ask me when she was old enough, would you let her go skydiving? And my response was always the same: absolutely, she can jump if she wants to, as long as she doesn't have to go to a fucking drop zone to do it. Now luckily she's gone for a couple of jumps, but Daddy was there to supervise for everything. But right. Yeah, I mean, some crazy shit gets going on at these drop zones, and more power to everybody doing them. But as soon as it's your kid, it's a slightly different feel.
Yeah, totally different. So I would say as long as the Joneses still have a drop zone and my kid could go jump at a Jones drop zone. I mean, Bill Jones is a force. Like, you do not want to mess with him. And so I feel like I was super lucky. Like, I could not have been more blessed.
So
Easy.
now, looking back on it all, because I usually ask people towards the end of the podcast what recommendations they would give to people just getting in the sport and what recommendations they would give to people that are thinking about getting out of the sport. Well, you're out of the sport. So looking back, what are your highlights? What were your takeaways just in general from skydiving? And is there any regret from walking away, or is it just kind of, it was time?
It wasn't time. The drop zone shut down.
Well, there you go.
They retired. And I mean, the new people, though, I would say, obviously, one of your guys, military guy, pilot the other day said this, but it was like, big ears, big eyes, keep your mouth shut, something like this. And I was like, yes, like that is exactly true. Like, that's just my nature anyways, kind of in a new setting. So I just like observe everything first. And so at Eloy, I always, that was the beauty of just having time on my hands when I was young. You just go and hang out and like listen and learn, and all that knowledge is free for the taking. I mean, like they used to run, I was just looking at a picture from Omar today. It was Jeffro and Jason Peters and Amy. So those were my 3 canopy pilots, or my 3 canopy coaches. Again, like basically from, 50 jumps to 150 jumps. Those were my canopy pilot coaches. Like They were hired to coach the Alaskan Canadian boogies. And I still call them good friends of mine. I mean, I'm still friends with them on Facebook. Like, but I learned so much just going into their little loft area and hanging out after, the day was done, and just kind of like, again, like hanging out wherever they were and hanging out with them and talking to them and, enjoying conversation with them and other people. It was just, you learn so much.
Sure.
So I would just say, as a new upcoming jumper, listen and take heed and listen, to people, who know what they're doing, and really pay attention and, gain all that knowledge. Like, there's lots of time and there's lots of free information out there if you just, slow down and don't have an ego. For sure. That's what I'm going to say. Listen and learn.
Now,
and then
for the people that are thinking about walking away from someone that has walked away, even though not necessarily voluntarily, looking back, what do you say to them?
I mean, like, you really have to decide if this is your community. I mean, that is the one thing that, like, this podcast for me, and like, even when I had my first kid, I was up here where I'm from, we moved back, and my friends didn't come around. Nobody came around. I had this kid, I'm isolated. I'm like stuck at home being a mom. And who called was Carol Jones. Hey, I'm in town for 3 days only. You want to come and have a drink? That's a freaking Lily. So I went and I had a drink. It was the first time out after being a new mom. My kid was like 11 days old. And I met them, all the skydivers. Nobody had gotten together for like 10 years because there wasn't no to, right? And so we all met down at this Mexican place, and it was like going home. It was like family. And so that's the one thing I miss the most is my skydiving family. And so if you could walk away and basically not care, like, oh, I don't like those people anyways, then good. I mean, maybe it's not the place for you. But if you are going to miss your family, like, maybe like you like switch it up and try doing something helpful. Like, I've always we had a guy who owned a restaurant, and he would always make breakfast every weekend. And so I'm like, dude, I would love to go and flip pancakes with Stan on the weekend at the drop zone and just like be there. I like to just go be with my family. I don't need to jump, risk myself, because I have such, I have a long time of raising kids ahead of me.
Sure.
But if there was a drop zone, I would absolutely go and be a part of it in some way. Like, I don't, like you're flying, you took years off, you were still in the drop zone every day, you just weren't jumping.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is I think the biggest common denominator from everybody that I've had on the podcast has been the community aspect of it, and how that is as big, if not a larger part of their draw in the sport, is the people that it brings together. So yeah, I suppose I'd have the same advice as well. Try and change the jumping up, see if you can find some different spice in skydiving, and try and learn something new. But even if you're just burned out on jumping for a while, try not to walk away from the community, because chances are those are the people that you're going to miss them a lot more than you're going to miss jumping. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a lot of friends down in Arizona that they don't seem to be maybe as active. I know they still jump, but when I get down there, even with kids, I'm going to totally, move heaven and earth to link up with them.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's probably the best part about being able to do this podcast for me, is I get the best of both worlds, because I get to talk to old friends like you, and then people that I have only met, here and there, or have never met, that are either rock stars or just nameless faces in the sport that have these wonderful views on skydiving. And so for me, this is very cathartic and super entertaining to be able to sit and shoot the shit and relive memories and hear other people and how excited they get talking about some of the crazy, wild, fun stuff that they've gotten up to in this sport. Because I mean, come on, let's face it, it's a fucking awesome sport.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Mandy, I'll tell you what, I cannot thank you enough, not just for sharing in all the insane adventures over the years, but for taking the time to sit down and talk during the podcast. I know it's some challenging times for everybody, all being under lockdown and 24-hour-a-day moms and stuff. So, I mean, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to catch up.
And we'll have to try and be a little bit better at it, although it seems like we fall right back into the swing of things as soon as we start talking again anyway.
Yeah, it's that kind of friendship for sure.
It is. All right, well, have an absolutely awesome day. Love you.
Love you too.
All right, another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void in the Can, brought to you, as always, by the greatest magazine in the known universe, Blue Skies Magazine. Head to blueskiesmag.com, where you can check out previously published issues. You can subscribe to the magazine, buy all kinds of cool swag, and check out the new shit that they've going on. Send in those pictures and article ideas as well. As for me, I am The Fucking Pilot. You can find me directly at my website, thefuckingpilot.net, where you've got both the books that I've written, the Blue Skies book as well as the Accidental Stripper. Both of those are available in digital and print form, and brought to you by Liquid Sky Mask. Check them out. I mean, come on, what an amazing thing they're doing, helping put those masks out. You buy one, they're going to give one out to try and help keep this COVID shit in check. Also, they make amazing fucking jumpsuits. Again, another episode of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void in the Can. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.